everybody to Blerdlines. This is the team. We're about to watch the new trailer for Wolverine.
There you are, Brett.
You can stop it at Jean Grey.
I was going to say, that was Jean. I didn't realize that. I knew the other X-Men would probably be, some of them would appear, but I didn't realize they were like going to drop Jean in there, like right there and right out the.
Yeah. So supposedly they're going to have Jean Grey, Mystique, Omega Red, Sabretooth, Leech, and the Sentinels. There's no official X-Men. There's Team X that rescues mutants from being hunted by the billionaire industrialist Boulevard Trask with the Reavers, essentially. So,
I guess it makes because it's a Wolverine game, so you have to have a context for him being on his own and everything, which again makes sense based on what we just saw there. And I had heard rumor that in the gameplay that the way that he heals or the way that he can die if you allow him, if you don't, you have to melee and do as much carnage as possible in order to build that meter that we saw up so that initiates his healing and makes him more stronger or whatever. So the more damage he does to others, the more stronger he becomes and less damage he takes.
I'll add more context to that. So if his heart stops because he runs out of health, his healing factor turns off and he will die.
There you go.
But if he's got enough rage, adrenaline in his system can reboot his heart and give him a surge of healing to bring him back into the game. If we were to watch the gameplay trailer, you would see this in action. I watched the full 20-minute trailer, and there's a point where he's getting beat down, which is another thing to note. When Wolverine does get beat up, you visibly see the effects of him getting beat up on his costume. He's bloody, and then even when he heals, the costume kind of shows the damage done, but you can see him heal. And then after a while, the whole costume kind of regenerates type of deal. You kind of don't pay attention. Mm-hmm. But you're focused on, I guess, the more you fight, the higher adrenaline, the better you can heal. But you can die in this game.
Yeah.
So,
well, it wouldn't be a game if there wasn't some kind of challenge. I mean, obviously, Wolverine is Wolverine. I hope that there are lots of moments where it's like X-Men 97, where he's falling out of the sky. It's just like with the full confident knowledge that no matter how this shakes out, he's not going to.
I'll be fine.
He'll be fine. Yeah.
I'll need a new costume.
Fight down just like that. Like
I'll need a new costume, but I'll be fine.
But I'll be fine. And
it looks
to see some of that.
Yeah,
I was going to say. I was talking to another friend of mine at work about it, and they were talking about it, and they just said they felt the blood was a little over the top. I thought they meant it was like too much blood, too much gore. He's like, I don't mind the gore. He just felt it was just like a lot of blood and just not cheesy, but it just looked like they were doing too much with the blood. But it feels like you can have blood presets in the game. There's violent presets, dynamic, dismemberment, and visceral healing. So to his point, I think they did notice people might find some issue with the blood and gore in it, and they gave people settings to cater, because obviously you're gonna have kids buying this game. So
that's true.
Yeah. No, that's a smart way to get around it, but also one of the things probably
it's probably you get these calls for everybody. I don't know.
Right?
I would think that it's rated M for mature based on the amount of blood they're showing.
It looks good though. It looks authentic.
Yeah, it looks great. I think one of my friends he's avid comic reader, and Wolverine was never his favorite character because he's like, you telling me Wolverine's been alive for all these years, ain't nobody walking around with nubs, half a leg, half an arm, no fingers. He's just out here just like kind of slicing people. So I like that the violence of it is actually pretty dope. I think that's pretty smart to dial down the blood if you want, whatever it is. Going back to kids makes perfect sense. Insomniac has already knocked out the park with both Spider-Man Miles DLC and Spider-Man 2. So I mechanics wise, I think they would figure out some interesting ways to kind of keep this entertaining. The one thing I would say is
Spider-Man 3 coming too, right?
I believe so, but I think they did this. I think they did this first before they were going to.
Yeah, this is first, and then I think Spider-Man 3 is like either next year or the year after next.
And I would say, as like in Spider-Man, when you find Easter eggs, you will find Easter eggs in Wolverine of other characters, but they won't be directly in the game.
Yeah.
So,
and I can see that Spider-Man did that in a pretty good way, too. And I think I'm really curious to see how those Easter eggs kind of play out. And with the addition of because one thing in Spider-Man 2 that was annoying part was not only could you switch between Parker and Miles, which was super dope, but there were sections where you had to play as Mary Jane, and that was fucking annoying and slow and boring. So I'm curious. Dumb. So I'm curious if that will come into Wolverine, and who that would be, right?
In the first game, and I just want to say about Leech, God, man, he's always getting picked on. In the first game, they balanced that with Mary Jane's presence, but in the second game, in game 2 with Venom, they had us playing as her in moments where she's in the midst of symbiotes and full-grown hosted symbiotes with the powers to boot. So, and you could not fight them. You had to avoid them. So that was annoying. With Wolverine's world, I don't think the side characters will be as encumbered by the limitations. Even if you playing as Leech or if you're playing as Jean Grey, you're pretty much probably not going to want to stop playing as Jean Grey because she's so powerful. But I can see them maybe shifting. But then again, this is less open world, so maybe they're just going to make us stick straight to.
You're not going to be able to play with no other character but Wolverine, from what I can read.
Hopefully, that's smart.
Yeah, so I also want to give a shout out to the voice actor Liam McIntyre. And for those who are familiar, he's been in other games. He played Taron Malicos in Fallen Order. He's been in Gears of War. But I know him from taking over the role as lead character in Spartacus. So shout out to him, because I was wondering who's going to voice Wolverine. Obviously, when you hear the voice in the trailer, you're like, wait, that ain't Hugh Jackman. That ain't
and ain't Steve Bloom.
Yeah. So, but he ain't no stranger to no video games. If you've played certain games, you've heard his voice before. And if you've watched Spartacus, he's been in that. He was the title character. So, which is going to be awesome. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. However, I want to do a quick segue because one of our panel hosts was highly anticipating this game. And I want to give the reins to my man, Josh. He's one of the biggest Marvel guys in our group. And
he's a big Wolverine fan. So,
yes.
And hasn't been a gamer.
And let's give some context. He does not own a console. I don't know when the last time he was on a console, but he said
Xbox 360.
360. He said, when the Wolverine game comes out, I'm going to buy a PS5. And
I will have one. I will have one by the time September 15th. I have it tattooed on my forehead. That's why I'm wearing a hat. I will have it tattooed on my forehead. September 15th. I will find a way.
So I want to know, based on your fandom of Wolverine, how excited are you for this game?
I mean, they've had other iterations of Wolverine in games before, and it's just kind of been okay, I guess. I forget the name of the last group game that they had. That was an X-Men game. Wolverine was just kind of doing, basic sort of kind of Wolverine stuff. But it wasn't anything crazy. But this is a whole other ball of wax, man. So I will find the money to get a console and make this and be ready for this game by September 15th. That is a guarantee.
My next question: Are you taking any PTO to play this game?
I might have to. I might have to.
I double checked too. The other games that they have in development, they're doing a standalone Venom game, Spider-Man 3, and then way off into the thing is going to be a X-Men supposedly full team game. So we'll see. Insomniac is doing some. They've been doing some things. It looks like they've locked down that Marvel contract.
To be honest, they have. And you saw it in the Spider-Man games, where they've been slowly world building Marvel adjacent. We saw the Avengers building in the Spider-Man games, so we know that they've established firmly that the Avengers are out there, that they're not in Peter Parker's orbit yet, but they are out there. And the same thing with the X-Men, and you got references to them. And then you see now Wolverine showing up, and we're gonna get even more open. They're gonna open up that Marvel space even more. And to be honest, this is like them doing a better job at world building than the MCU is right now. But the great thing is that if this is anything like Spider-Man, it's already a hit because Spider-Man, Insomniac understood the best parts of the character and how to make it into a game, right? And so that's what I think you really, in the same sense when you're adapting a comic book to a movie or anything, it's like, if you have that creative team that can understand, okay, how does this work for a video game? Then you have a really good combination, and it makes for a fun gaming experience. And it starts to make you think like, well, hell, we've seen a great Batman series in the Arkham series. Totally, I don't know if there will ever be another Batman game series that's better than the Arkham series. Now we've seen it with Spider-Man. We're about to get Wolverine. So it just makes you curious, what other characters that are just, can we adapt into video game that is like a strict adaptation, not a copy of a movie or like, but it's like, yeah, we're treating this like we're adapting it for an ongoing series or franchise in the same way you would a TV show. Like what other characters would, it's like, we might get, that's what I would put to you guys. Like what other characters other than Wolverine? Now we've gotten Spider-Man, Wolverine, great Batman game over for DC. But what other Marvel characters do you think? Oh, we know X-Men is coming. We know Venom and
Venom as well. Yeah,
Spider-Man's coming.
And they did a really good job with Miles too, where of the expansion of the character and like making it a fixture in that world. And like you said, the world building they did in first Marvel immersed Spider-Man, and then with their subsequent DLCs, adding in the Black Cat, other people, and other of his foes, and then with 2 bringing in Venom, bringing in symbiotes and all that. So I think like again, they're doing exactly what the MCU isn't doing. They're making their stuff, making good stories, building up their world, adding their little nuggets as they can, and then expanding with really big swings, right? Spider-Man was a big swing. Spider-Man 2 was a big swing to add in Venom. Wolverine was a big swing. Yep.
Yeah, so that in that thought process, what other like so far I'm asking, would you be interested in Captain America getting the same treatment or Thor or for
yes.
Again, I'm talking about for Insomniac
in that world.
Insomniac is adapted.
In that world. Yeah. I would play the hell out of any
storytelling.
I
would say Crystal Dynamic had an Avenger game that came out right with the height of the Avengers, and it went horribly.
Yeah, the Marvel's Avengers. Yeah. At the time, people thought that that it was set in the same.
Yep.
But it wasn't.
And the gameplay of it for certain characters was actually fun. The other gameplay of the other characters was whack. And it had a shit ton of microtransactions, which was stupid. But the crux of the game, having the Avengers and you be able to switch between each one for whatever mission, that part was cool. And playing as Hulk was fun. It felt grounded. It was an enjoyable type of thing. Even Kamala Khan was fun. But it was, again, trying to do something where they're like, it was almost like mimicking the movies, but not the movies. And then that's where it found itself in this weird world building situation where like the Insomniac games are like continuing to make their world bigger. So like I probably would like pick something like an Incredible Hulk or maybe even a Doctor Strange, which would be fun because he has like
that's what I'm saying.
Styles. Like
I would say this.
What makes sense for a game? That's what I'm saying.
So here's the thing. Most of the characters we envision, I feel like their powers are so grandiose. This is why I don't think we can ever make a good Superman game because the villains have to be stronger than Superman for him to have stakes. And when you make a good game based off a comic book character, you want to make sure they have stakes. Like Spider-Man is a good choice because he can actually die. He is still human. there are things that are powerful on him, and you figure out ways to win against an enemy. Same thing with Batman. You know, the cool thing about Batman in certain games, you use your detective abilities, you learn about the lore. Same thing with this Wolverine game. Like, Wolverine ain't the most powerful Marvel character. He just has an insane healing factor, but they made it where he can actually die.
So you don't think that could be applied to... I get what you're saying about Superman, but...
Yeah, it can, because we did a Guardians of the Galaxy game that kind of explored outside of the galaxy and more powerful beings, even though they're not powerful beings. So it's possible. So if we do have a Thor game, it won't be on Earth. It'll be in the galaxy. We'll be fighting characters that
potentially, right.
In the 9 realms or something
when
like that.
When it's on Earth, we just know that he's not gonna... It's one of the earliest, you know, or one of those where it's like a real quick mission. Same with Superman, right? Obviously, you would get a game. You could have a game where Lex Luthor is playing around and doing some crazy stuff, but obviously, you want someone to be able to put a hurting on him. So then you're looking at him encountering a Lobo, him encountering Doomsday, him encountering Metallo, him encountering Darkseid. But all of those
characters that can put him down.
Zod, they can put hurdles on him. And I think what you're saying is that, and you're right, is that you will have to very narrowly define a Superman game. It cannot be open world, right?
Yeah.
It's like Spider-Man or Batman. So just like this Wolverine game is not open world, because you have to narrowly define it in order for it to not seem silly that, you know, Wolverine is dying all over and coming back. Because we know he heals, but he doesn't die. Well, that's a whole nother thing.
And also too, I would say adding in the parts of, like I said, narrowly defined, right? So you get a look of Jean Grey, you get a look of potentially an Omega Red or something like that. But if you had the full spectrum of, say, X-Men, that could be, it's all over the place, right? It's like even an X-Men game would have to be tied down too, because you have Professor X, who can literally just end everything in one spot, right? Knock everyone out, they're all dead. So kind of giving them that niche and some guardrails, or putting it in space. Like, I think the Thor idea would be hella fun if, like, Earth was his headquarters. That's where office where he starts from, but he goes to the different 9 realms to fight, you know, and then he comes back to Earth.
That can work. Like, I would also say Deadpool too, because Deadpool, it's a hack and slash. It's kind of like Wolverine.
And you can do a lot with that.
You can do a lot
with some kind of kooky things with Deadpool games in the past that have been fun. So much like this Wolverine game, I think Deadpool can be the Spider-Man type open world where it's very much violent like Wolverine, but at the same time, Deadpool has a main story, but he can also fuck off and do, he can also mess off and do all kind of crazy stuff.
Well, and I think like with the Incredible Hulk game on the Xbox 360 that D'Angelo and I love. So there's, you know, you start out as the Hulk and you're the Hulk through the majority of the game. But as invulnerable as the Hulk is in the video game, if you take on enough damage, you revert back to Bruce Banner, and then you're wide out and open in the world that the Hulk is basically destroying everything. And there are Hulkbuster troops coming after you. And if they shoot you as Banner before you get to the chance to power up your rage meter again and turn back into the Hulk, you're going to die. You have to jump back to your old save point.
Yeah, I think that the problem with a lot of the past attempts at superhero games is that there was no balance between the storytelling and the actual superhero action. There was once upon a time a Superman game that was based on Superman the animated series. In fact, I'm pretty sure they got about 2 or 3 games out of that based on that particular version of Superman.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was the one that that was the one they did, but based off the animated series, which is weird because the games came after the show, and the show only lasted a couple seasons, right? I don't think it was that long.
Yeah, the game came many years after the show, but it was also during probably the time when Justice League might have been on the air, and because I remember it being on PlayStation 2 and the first Xbox.
I think it was before Justice League.
Yeah. I'll give you two characters that can actually be into games easily. Deadpool is one, and Blade. You can create a world.
I do a
Blade is low. Yeah, Blade is super low hanging.
But I'm just saying it'll be easy to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's just hack and slash.
Hack and slash.
Yeah.
But there's characters somewhat more powerful, and Blade can, I don't know, die or turn into a full vampire. Those are the stakes. I'm just going off of what surface level analysis of what I remember Blade being able to do. But those are something you can really make a game if the demand is high. You can make a Black Panther game, but it has to be an original storyline. I would want it to separate itself from the movies and have its own.
I do like a Wakanda, like intergalactic or something like that, where he's out in space,
open world,
open even
world Wakanda.
Even the Avenger game that they had, their DLCs was, I think it was Hawkeye. No, it was Kate Bishop. And then it was Hawkeye, and then it was T'Challa. And the T'Challa thing was actually pretty cool. But like same thing, like you said, it would be fun if it was Black Panther, but it's like intergalactic Wakanda. So then it's just Black Panther set in space, go. Like that would be more interesting than him being on Wakanda trying to fight Namor or some boring thing like that.
That was an arc in the books, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Marvel's characters make for easier adaptation into games, most likely. Because again, you have with Wonder Woman, you have the same problem with Superman. Is she's mostly invulnerable. Like you can't. There's not a lot of beings in the universe that can go toe to toe with her. She's God level. You can make more likely to make a Lobo game in the galaxy. Well, that's now you're really talking about
a Lobo game will work.
Yeah, but Lobo is super juiced though. Like we're talking about somebody who literally can regrow his limbs and
from a drop of blood.
Like his people.
You do the same thing. You do this. You end up doing the same thing that you do with Logan. Like he has to be killable. So you give him some sort of invulnerability that doesn't necessarily translate direct from the pages.
That'll be fun. I'm just saying, like you would have a good fun game with Lobo. I'm just saying that it's the same problem that Cam pointed out with the other characters, which is there are not many things that can actually get Lobo to that point where he's like pieces and has to grow back. He will most likely take that. He win the fight or he'll leave before it gets to that point.
Yeah, because it's hard for me to envision. Oh, sorry, I was gonna say it's hard for me to envision a game with Doctor Strange. I don't want to see him doing martial arts. That's not his thing. Like,
no finger setting.
It would be a bunch of
magic was more defined in Marvel. Then you could probably have like. There's a case to be made for a Doctor Strange game. Would it work?
You can do Defenders, but I can't see. I mean, you can make Doctor Strange game because I feel like he falls into the same problem as Thor. But Thor, we have the 9 realms. It's kind of like God of War, which we can talk about later. We have all these different realms, and Thor's jumping around trying to figure out what's going on, and you figure that because everything is just as powerful, if not more powerful than Thor, and you have to figure out how to win. Doctor Strange, I'm just having a hard time. Like, who's his villain? Is it
we're talking about him facing off against people like entities like Dormammu or Mephisto. We're talking about him having to enter supernatural realms.
Yeah,
so, it would be all supernatural. It'd be all supernatural, and then it'd be more magic.
There was an example.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say there was an example in Spawn. There was a Spawn game that made me think of, and it was super fun because it was like it was fun. Like he was, and it had a bit of a story, but the main bosses were like angels and like the other Spawns and like, of course the Violator who was like tough in that game.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I like that because we know there's stakes there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say for Lobo, it'd be almost like the Force Unleashed Starkiller thing, where it's like him going out to go get these bounties about different things, and Lobo would just be fighting the biggest and the baddest in the universe. That would be fun and would give you something to, he's essentially going after like a dark side or just because that's the bounty or something to that.
He could team up with lanterns. He could encounter characters and fight characters like Mongol, who he would most likely, that could be one of his bounties, because that would be the perfect boss bounty for him. Is him going after Mongol.
Or maybe he has to go fight a couple lanterns because he has to fight a couple lanterns because that's what he does sometimes. Like, there's a lot of wiggle room to play with it. And I think
in the pursuit of a bounty, he runs into 3 lanterns and has to subdue them in order to get to his bounty because they're going to arrest him. They're going to arrest the bounty before he can get to it. Or, he wants it first.
He's going after a rogue Kryptonian. And it ends up being Azad or something like that.
Boom.
And that would be a great boss fight because especially if he finds that Kryptonian under a yellow sun is going to handle it would be fun. It would be a great because Lobo is like Battle Beats, right? Like Lobo is a kind of a Battle Beast equivalent.
Yeah.
He has his own. They are different enough to be distinctive. But that bloodlust and bloodletting is there for both of them. And when you rev Lobo up like that, he'll go there. And the Kryptonians are the ones that bring it out of him. So, yeah, you're right. A Lobo game would be fun. Would be fun.
And you heard it first, just like the Lobo cameo in his movie.
This is true.
Planting the seeds.
Planting the seed. We put it out in the ether so then someone can grab it.
I could see a Lobo game happening where he's calling somebody a Keezy femme or something like that, like he would do.
And
that would be amazing.
I brought it up because they tried to expand the Arkham universe with the Suicide Squad, and it was a total bomb in terms of reception and all. And Superman is in that as one of the main antagonists because the whole Justice League are the antagonists. But it didn't work out. But I think it was more of a story thing than it was just a gameplay thing. I think.
Oh, you talking about the Kill the Justice League?
Kill the Justice League, yeah.
Okay, I can tell you exactly why that didn't work. It was a live service game. So what people were expecting was the Rocksteady Arkham Asylum game, and they completely went in a totally different direction. That's
exactly what it was. Yep.
So it wasn't so much that it just didn't work. Some of the fundamental problems, when I played the beta, I said it's a fun game. But my thing is how they're going to keep this up as a live service. And the second part is they were using weapons, like human weapons, like guns, instead of their weapons. Like Captain Boomerang didn't use his boomerang. There was nothing special about Harley Quinn. So each character they were all given these default weapons, and it just kind of killed the game, right? Mm-hmm. So and they never the most interesting fight was the one where you're chasing Batman, and it was dark. And there was booby traps around, and Batman. It was the best scene,
the most nightmare, and all of them are afraid of him, which makes it even
crazy, right? Yeah. That was the best scene. But then you having a gun to shoot Superman, we know that's not going to work. What is that like? That's not going to work.
Yeah, I saw that where Harley, it was a cutscene where it's after they kill Batman, I think, and that brings Superman, he pulls up and. He's kind of he gives them the rundown, you just kill the best man. He's pissed that they killed Batman.
Yeah. Then how do you kill Superman? How?
Yeah. not with no Glock. I'll tell you.
That. No. Unless that Glock has a kryptonite bullet in it.
It could have been fun, but it was doomed to fail, and that wasn't a proper Suicide Squad game. That was just a mistake. They went off the reservation for experimenting. Kudos to them for trying something new, but a lot of fans were disappointed because they thought they were getting some type of Batman game game. Yeah. And it was
same with Gotham Knights. I think and that's why I brought it up. We've had recent examples of that attempt to expand into other comic book areas. Largely, DC is stuck to the Batman universe corner of the universe. I think they were really considering with the Arkham series trying to do a Superman game because Superman is referenced a lot in Arkham Knight. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but they're the side characters talk about Superman a lot. And to the point where you're wow, they're mentioning him almost like they're preparing us for him to show up. And so I figured that they were trying to do it, but it's like you said, it's that difficulty of making his giving him a journey where he's not invincible. But I think James Gunn has recently given us a little bit of that roadmap by taking it back to a point where, yes, Superman has always been what he is, but there came a point where he became so powerful that it was trying to push him into that godlike view. Like the way you see him is as a god. Whereas James Gunn sort of took that image away. And I think the Trunks is a part of that, the goofiness, the Boy Scout, because it's supposed to, when you look at him, you're not supposed to be like, that is a god figure. And I think that's the hardest part of the video game, is getting to the point where you show Superman as a Boy Scout. So a Boy Scout Superman game that leads him to facing the cosmic threats, and just him doing little things, I think could work. It just depends on how they build the beginning, middle, and end, and the game mechanics, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even mind seeing him as a boy, as a young Superboy type of situation. You see him grow over a certain amount of time. That way, you can scale his power accordingly.
I'm surprised we haven't had like a Nightwing or what is it, the Batman Beyond video game.
Oh yeah,
they did the Gotham Knights. That was the closest that they gave us to a Nightwing. Batman Beyond, they gave us the suit in Arkham Knight.
Yeah, that was about it.
That's about it.
I mean, and honestly, that's a good property to use too, because you have the familiar things of Batman, but you're also far enough in the future that you can take liberties, do whatever you want, have more fun. They already established certain bad guys and certain things like the Jokers as gangs, so that's the easy beat 'em ups. But it's right there for them. I think that's the thing too, where it's like, DC likes to keep it and to try to true Batman, Bruce Wayne, keep that going, even so far as doing how many Batman Lego video games. I think that's the next one that's coming out. Batman Lego.
I've never played any of them, but I've lost count.
For the life of me, don't understand how that Will Arnett Lego Batman movie has not had a sequel. That thing is incredible.
Well, because it's had so many video games. That's why they have it.
Honestly, you're right. You're right. They put all the money into video games, but the Lego Batman movie, it's top 3 Batman movies I've ever seen.
Like I said, look, once we see if Lobo gets some popularity from his appearance in the new movie, there might be something down the line to make something like, oh, people like Lobo, let's do something with that.
Definitely.
I can see that.
That if Jason Momoa does his usual Jason Momoa with a character, then Lobo will make his mainstream debut finally. And what I mean by that is that it takes characters coming into things like movies and TV to truly enter the mainstream, and not.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, animated doesn't get it done, and sometimes TV doesn't get it done.
Because, I mean, animated, they did a great job in Young Justice with Lobo showed up. She was awesome.
And Krypton did a good job with their adaptation.
Yeah, I missed that.
For TV. Yeah, it was decent. It was a good TV version of Lobo. I think Momoa will be the definitive movie version, because I mean he didn't have to do much, but just put the makeup on him.
Just be himself.
Born to play Lobo.
He was born to play Lobo.
Absolutely.
That's what I said. I don't even if the movie isn't probably as good as some would hope, some think, some indifferent about, I think what Momoa gives us as Lobo will be great. So I think, we probably will get a Lobo video game in the future, and it will be fun. Him using Space Hog for him literally riding through space, because now we got all those games that have those mechanics where you can ride ships through space.
Obviously, Jason Momoa was born to play this role. I think it'll be a good game, or a good character to revolve around a game. Hopefully he kills the role and generates enough interest where people be informed. Oh, and I was going to say, the video game needs to be developed by the right company. We don't want the wrong company developing the game. Obviously, Insomniac and Santa Monica or Rocksteady get their hands on this. We know it's going to be in good hands. Now, if there's another gaming development company out there that can do some justice, have at it. But that's my main concern.
Rocksteady or Rockstar?
Rocksteady.
Rocksteady. Okay.
Rockstar does Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Right. I know they do that, but I was just making sure you were.
Rocksteady.
Yeah.
And so that was a long-winded way to get back to what we were talking about at the beginning, which was Marvel's Wolverine. But since we're watching a little of the state of play, we also wanted to bring in a little bit of God of War, Laufey, which got announced as well.
So that's 2 games I'm getting right.
Yeah. Well, you. I would say that one you got 2 others to tackle.
Oh yeah, the 2 Spider-Man games. Yeah.
No.
About God of War.
No.
God of War,
previous God of War
and
games.
God of War
yeah.
Ragnarok, because our story begins there.
Okay.
And part of that is actually, I believe that part of her story is parallel to what Kratos and Atreus are doing in the living world.
Okay.
Yes. Her story starts in 2018, right when she's getting cremated. She wakes up, once she gets cremated, she wakes up in this land called Everywin, Everywin, where we find out that all the deceased gods are there, not just the Norse gods or the Greek gods, but all the gods. And from the trailer, if you watch the full trailer, we run into 2 gods. Sekhmet, Egyptian goddess known for warrior aspect of nature, and Bextus. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but he's a Tibetan god of war. Both of these are god of war. So that also leaves speculation to see other gods of war that have either been killed by Kratos or opens the possibility of seeing other gods of war.
She's most certainly going to run into probably the gamut of god of wars across several pantheons, but she's definitely going to run into Ares. And probably most likely Baldar as well, because both of them were murdered by Kratos. But she's probably she might even encounter Zeus, because again, murdered by Kratos. Because it would make sense that and it probably won't all be about Kratos. So I don't expect her to go through his entire list of enemies that he fought, but certainly I can't imagine Ares not being an opportunity to bring Ares at least, or maybe Zeus, because they were so defining in the Greek era of these games. But I know there's a lot of controversy. I don't know what. I haven't read it because I don't care.
Honestly, I would say
play this game, and I love the mythology aspect. So Laufey is a Jotun and belongs to the pantheon of gods and giants. So that power that she's displaying, it makes sense.
Yeah, I would say, like, controversy aside, and that's more just gamers being gamers. Some people the one thing that was interesting, the original creator of the earlier God of Wars, he had a lot to say, which nothing of it was some substance. It just sounded like he was butthurt.
He's been hating on since the first game, though. He hasn't really liked anything.
Yeah, I've heard that.
But and he used to work at Santa Monica, and he used to work at Santa Monica Studios too. But I think I think that's the part that I'm most interested in, is the other gods showing up and like which ones they choose and that kind of stuff, because like it's going to be fun to see it, and also to seeing some of the artwork. Like, shout out to the homie Della Longfish and Colin Fix. Both of them got to work on this game out of Santa Monica Studios, and they both just said that we had so much fun just going through all of Myth of Gods and just starting to come up with ideas and all of it. Some make it to the game, some don't, but they're like, it was one of the more fun exercises they've ever got to work on, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, because what God of War has done, and what they did essentially, are establish what they opened up the world with in the Norse section, was showing us that the Greek epoch, or ancient Greece in their pantheon, was happening alongside all the others. So it wasn't like, oh, this was the creation myth. No. This was the creation myth. No. It's like, no, they're all part of these multiple, collection of deities that are all corresponding to the various emergences of human thought across the globe,
they all sort of coexist all at the same time.
Yeah, they coexist, which is why the Aesir and the Norse were aware of Kratos and what he had done to the Olympians. Zeus, Odin references it, and a couple of them reference what he did. So it shows that this is all one world in which these deities are dominating from their position of wherever the faith is the most powerful. And I imagine that the death is used as a metaphor for the death of the practice for a lot of these gods. A lot of them are no longer worshipped in that manner in the modern world. So in a sense, a lot of them have been killed or died off. And at the end of God of War, there is a post-credit scene in which the modern world is shown, and they show the bones of one of the Titans of Kronos, and they show a helicopter landing near it to suggest again that centuries later, millennia later, these things were found by the modern world. So they've always consistently been good at that with the story, and I like that balance. So I'm looking forward to this.
One of the things I'm looking forward to. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I want to know. I was going to say, who blew the damn horn to call Yoga-Minder Snake? That was never answered. Okay, let me back up.
Jormungandr.
Jormungandr,
yes.
So here's the thing. There's a lot of backlash because they wanted a God of War with either Kratos or Atreus, aka Loki, going forward. This doesn't mean Kratos' story ends. It's been confirmed there's going to be more games with Kratos. What we're getting is more context to questions that were unanswered in the 2018 and also the last rendition of God of War Ragnarok, because Laufey set up a lot of things for their journey from the 2018. If you follow the story and you beat the game, you see she was planting seeds when she had the whole thing protective, because initially Boulder was supposed to fight Laufey, not Kratos. Mm-hmm. This story is about her, but Kratos just happened to be there.
He just happened to insert, and that's the irony of all these folks getting mad, is that he entered her world. Yes. He entered the Norse mythology in that world, which again, when he enters the world, she nearly kills him. Yep. They fight.
2 major fights. She fought Kratos, she got her respect, or she got his respect, and she fought Thor. We see that in the game, and there's little hints that's been dropped of her presence there. It tells you what happened in the beginning of the game. Once you beat it, then you go back, you're like, the answers was right there in front of you. When the intro comes in, Laufey was always there, always present.
And she's one of the last of the Jotun in this game, the way they've adapted it. She's one of the last of the Jotun giants. And not remember because Josh, you didn't play, but for those who did play and for those who didn't, the whole thing was that there was the ongoing eternal war between the Aesir and the it's not the Jotun, it's the other one. Aesir, and I can't remember. It's what Freya is. But
the not Valkyries.
No, it's another. It sounds similar to Aesir, but it's not that same name. Yeah. And Aesir, by the way, is what the Norse gods were actually called. Yeah. Other than they weren't called the Asgardians. That's not what they were called. They were Aesir, and the Asgardian is, I think, largely a Marvel thing. But
I also want to know who, so in each game, there's these optional boss characters. And the first one was Valkyries. The second one, the
Vanir. That's what they were.
Vanir.
It's the Aesir versus the Vanir. Yes.
Vanir. And the second one, they had like Aztec looking characters that were like super hard. So I'm also curious in this version, and everyone, what is the Valkyrie type enemy in this game? That's the optional boss. Because if anybody's played the 2018 game, the last Valkyrie boss and the last boss in the second game were one of the most hardest bosses to defeat in that game. So I'm looking forward to that challenge. So
and I like that. I like I like the way their take on the mythology is in this game. And I like the different types of designs that come in. Professor D talked about this before, about showing Thor as a fat, grizzly dude, and Odin is a frail, small thing, which is a lot more in a line of what is told in a lot of those myths before.
Yeah.
And I like that they're bringing
But the actual mythology shows.
Yeah, and I like that they're going to bring that in. So like with Laufey and then having the different types of gods from different types of religion, they're going to just have their art team in Santa Monica is one of the best in the biz, like straight up. And they're also, it's going to be fun to see how they realize this. And it's also interesting too. Again, we have a spinoff, right? Because we'll get another God of War that'll happen, fine, whether it's with Atreus or it's with Kratos. But this gives you a separate thing, and to Cam's point, bringing it back to almost like this is the logical piece into the whole story that we've actually learned so far.
Yeah, no, this is a key part of it because again, it tethers the whole entry of Kratos, who was a Greek god, a Greek god, and a Greek man at one point, into this world of the Norse mythology of the Aesir and the Vanir, and she is that middle point, that nexus point, and she's the mother of, and so again, just like in real mythology, Laufey is the mother of Loki. And so, therefore, she's the grandmother of Loki's two sons, the wolves. And I'm blanking on their names right now, but the mythology tracks. We saw the wolves in God of War Ragnarok, and they were performing their function for Ragnarok. The interesting other thing about Jormungandr is that Jormungandr is supposed to be the one that killed Thor.
Yeah.
They kill each other. And so I thought for a moment we were going to get that in the game, but we didn't. And that was a little disappointing, but it wasn't enough to ruin it. Because they do make their own little spins on the mythology, and obviously you have to account for Kratos, the protagonist who wasn't in the original myth. So
Fenrir and Skull.
Yes, Fenrir and Skull, our Loki's wolf children. Loki had a lot of shape-shifting babies.
Yeah. The one thing too that I don't think the trailer really showed, but she does have. Well, it does show a sword, but it does not show how she came about getting said sword. And there's two new companions. There's a cube, which is voiced by Jack Quaid from
The Boys, yeah. And Star Trek Lord Dex.
Yes.
Yeah.
And let me make sure and Rue, which is the ribbon on the sword, voiced by Perlino Lau. So it's kind of ambiguous on what their role is, but from the trailer, there's another character that was locked up because there's a lot of characters being locked up and caged, and everybody keep referencing like, be careful, you have a powerful weapon. We don't know what that weapon is, but it looks kind of like something from Chinese mythology. Who knows where this could go? Because
it seems like it's the atypical demon soul eating sword. That's probably what's happening there. Which again is I was talking to Josh. I was saying, in fantasy that Michael Moorcock's Elric of Melniboné, that was one of the first times that appeared. But that sword itself, the idea of sort of a demon soul drinking sword, I believe that's been in mythology for a while. So it could be something, and it could be, like you said, something that comes from either an Egyptian or Chinese or some other kind of mythology. To again establish that these other gods are out there, or at least they have existed at some form or fashion in this world. And all of these characters, our protagonists, are constantly having to, for whatever reason, encounter them and fight them. There's lots to be told with Atreus / Loki, and we only got a little bit of his shape-shifting powers, but that's one of the real world Loki myth. One of his main things is he's a shapeshifter. So it'll be very interesting to see that character evolve into that powerful shapeshifting sorcerer that Loki is.
Yeah, Josh, I would say like God of War, Ragnarok's a kind of must. Like it's,
okay.
So Josh, you can buy a PS5 now and get those games out of the way before Wolverine. Because I was going to say, you can play Laufey. It's fine. Well, there's going to be a lot of context you're going to be missing.
Yeah. Oh no. I won't play them out of order. No way.
Yeah. And just the general game experience is just fun. I've been playing God of War since the very first game, and
same. I played the first one. Yeah.
There has not been a single one that I've played that I haven't enjoyed. Even the ones that they used to release on the PSP, I was all on top of it and was playing them. And so I played literally probably the only one I didn't play was the one where Persephone was the main villain. And then they talk about that in God of War 3 when Hades is like, you kill my wife. And he's like, you see her body in the, you actually have to use her coffin as a part of the the puzzle or whatever. And this is after Hades is like, has already spewed you haven't fought him yet, you're getting to it, but he's already made it clear that once you get to him, he's gonna mess you up because you kill Persephone in that side game. And she's the boss in that side game.
And it's also too because like now you can get both of those games I think for like $20 each, so you're in a good spot. But those are some top notch quality game of the year type shit that like there's not. Both of those games are like really really.
It's gonna be a good year for games.
Josh,
a good couple years for games.
If you get PS5, I got the original God of War on disc. I can just send that to you.
Oh damn! Okay, yeah, for sure.
Good run. State of Play is constantly turning out some good stuff, man. Like, I mean, this year people are still on a high for Crimson Desert. We haven't even gotten to Wolverine and what was the other, into God of War or any of these other things yet. So
also
and still talking
Dune
about
coming out.
Was that?
Oh yeah, the new Dune as well.
New Dune. It's been out for a year. It's been out for a year.
First, right?
Yeah. So I have to revisit it because I was super hyped for Dune, but then it took forever to come out for console, and I saw a lot of issues with it. However, I want to revisit it, see if I'm still as hyped. Have they made some changes? Have they revised some things? Some quality of life changes that needed to be had? But there was a lot of anticipation, especially based off the recent movies and whatnot. So we will stay tuned for that. We'll definitely get our hands on that.
I would say I watched some of the gameplay, and I really liked the mechanics of having to avoid Shia LaBeouf, and that was, I appreciated that because it builds up to, and it's like you have to really do the walk, the type of walk. And if you like mess in it, like you see the meter, like as if it crosses a certain threshold, then like you just, the computer just stops you. And then like you just see Shia LaBeouf come up and get you and you have to start it over. But whenever you're on
build mechanics you got build mechanics as well. And then like you said, there's, over the last like couple months, like Crimson Desert has been another big one as well. Cam's big on that one. That's a whole other podcast. But
I'm going to get into that one so that I can join because I love those type of games.
Don't buy it if you plan on sleeping.
well, Cam, I'm a little not as devoted as you are, and I have been at that point in certain cycles. But even now, I think that's one of the reasons why I haven't bought it is because I know right now I'm doing a lot of other things, and I know I could lose myself for like 3 or 4 hours in that game. So.
And that's how I look at Elden Ring. Like I finally have it. I have discs, put it in there, play it for a couple of hours. But as I started to play it, I was like, I see why people just get lost because it's such a massive world and you can do whatever the fuck you want. So it's on
you gotta get good so you can actually not die.
That's what I'm saying.
every 5 minutes.
It's not about so it's like it's on you, right? However, if you put the time in, boom, you can get really dope. But if you don't, there's certain games that are hop in, hop out. Elden Ring is not one of those.
I put 300 plus hours in the Elden Ring back today. 300.
I probably put like 100 in the Witcher 3 because I just love the Witcher 3. Like
I have 400 to 500 hours in the Witcher 3. There were so many things I was doing in that game.
Yeah, see, I didn't. There's a lot of monster contracts. So I said I have a plan to replay with the Witcher 3, and
which is also getting a new DLC.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was other announcements.
Because the other two that they had were excellent. The Blood and Wine was amazing. But I'm gonna, and also obviously The Witcher 4 is coming, and where you're playing as Ciri, and they're also remaking the original first two Witcher games in the new engine. So it's gonna be like a nonstop, basically
PTO, brother, PTO.
The video games are going to erase the memories of the TV show in very short time. Short time. It's about to be like, that was just like a blip and it's all about the games again. And because that's how it was. It was all about the books for a little while, very silently, quietly. We're getting some rumblings. But then the games came out and it was just like, whoa, this is like, then The Witcher 3 just put it all the way over the top, became the prototype for open world fantasy games of that magnitude, and really just open world games like that in general.
And still holds up today. I think that's the craziest part. Well, we're gonna be doing more gaming content over the next several months. You know, we'll figure it out how what it is, but we'll all have stuff to play. I play on my Steam and my PS5. Cam's on PS5. Both D and Josh probably be on PS5 as well. So we can have a little bit more game talks more often, and because we are playing different types of stuff. But if you've come this far, please like, subscribe, follow, tell a friend. Give us a little hate. Give us a little love. Toss it to other people's. You know, we got our opinions, but we also appreciate what everybody gives us a like and chimes in on the comments. So I wanted to wrap that up, and I would like to say this is Blerdlines, and we out.
Peace, bubs.